Have a wedding coming up and need a cute card? This project is for you. Hello, I am Katie from thecraftyblogstucker.com, and this is such a fun project I am sharing with you today. I have most of the supplies laid out on my counter here, as well as an SVG that I designed specifically for this project that I have made available for you to download for free. So make sure to visit my website, The Crafty Blog Stalker, to grab that free file. I will also have a complete supply list either in the description of this video, in the blog post, or through this QR code. I will start here in Cricut Design Space and I'll open a new project on that blank canvas. I'll come to this upload icon and click upload because I need to upload my SVG. I can drag and drop that file in. There is my design. I'll click on continue. If I wanted to, I could change the image name or add tags. I'll add wedding as a tag, then go to upload. And there is my design. I'm gonna close this images tab. This is an A6 card, so it is designed to fit in a 4.5 by 6.25 envelope. It can be resized. Just make sure that you resize as a group so all of the pieces still fit. I wanna keep it original, so I'm gonna undo. I do want to point out that if my Cricut Design Space looks differently than yours, it is probably because I am on a computer. The computer version and the device app version do look a little bit differently. Also, Cricut is really good at updating their software. So all of the functions are the same. The icons to get to those functions just might be in different places. I'll start by ungrouping the design. In this design, I have some score lines. When designing outside of Cricut Design Space, there is no way to assign line function. So everything comes in as cut, as you can see over here in my layers panel. So some of these lines I need to change to score. So I'll click outside to unhighlight everything, and I'll come over here to this line. This line needs to be score. I will go to the operation and change that to score. And you can see it becomes a dashed line, meaning that is a score. And then I need to attach that score line to this piece. Otherwise, when I send it to cut, this score line will be on a different mat. I'm gonna highlight both and attach. Then this line right here is also a score. When I click it on my canvas, it also highlights it in my layers panel. I'll change that to score and then do the same thing. Highlight both. You can see they're both highlighted there in my layers panel, and attach. I don't need to make any more adjustments. I'm ready to cut. However, I am going to cut from my iPad. My computer is a little bit far away from my machine, but I prefer to design from my computer instead of my iPad. So I'm gonna click save, and I'll save as bride and groom card. How about I spell that right? There we go. So I'll save that. I am back to Cricut Design Space, this time on my iPad. And to find my project, I'll go to my stuff, my projects, and there is my bride and groom card. I don't need to make any more adjustments to this card since I already made all of those adjustments previously on my computer. So I will select make it, and here is my mat preview. So I can see my different mats. I just want to make sure that my score lines are there on my designs. For my white mat, I am using 8.5 by 11 paper. So I can leave my mat just like this and put my paper horizontally, or to make sure, I can come in here and change my material size to 8.5 by 11. It does something kind of silly. It puts it on 2 mats, even though it doesn't need to be. So I'll click on these 3 dots, move object. I'm gonna move it to that first mat, and everything is yellow, meaning that those cuts are overlapped, but I can move them. I wanna move the dress, and I'm gonna rotate it. And I can rotate that. And now all of my pieces fit on that 8.5 by 11. So that is good to go. Now I can click on next. For my material, I am using the same material on all of my mats, which is cardstock. So I'll select medium cardstock. And whenever cutting paper, I like to choose the more pressure setting just to make sure I get a nice crisp cut. So I'll click more and remember material settings so I don't have to come back to this screen between each mat. I can just load the next mat and go. I will need to pay attention down here to this load tools and mat so I know when to load the scoring wheel. My first mat is white, and remember my paper was loaded vertically on the mat, so I'll apply that. Now I can load my mat, and when this light begins to blink, I can press it to begin the cut. Done cutting, so I can unload my mat. When removing the paper from the mat, we want it to be as flat as possible. So the best habit to get into is to always turn the mat over and remove the mat from the paper. That way your paper won't curl and it will stay flat. I can scrape off those extra little pieces from inside the design. These are trash, I don't need to keep them. Back in Cricut Design Space, my gray is my next. For my gray, I am using a scrap piece. This piece is just cut, so I can leave my fine point blade in, load my mat, and begin the cut. This mat is done. Add my black 12 by 12 cardstock. For this mat, I do need my scoring wheel. The eject button is not blinking. It is that play button that is blinking, which means we don't eject the mat. We just switch out the scoring wheel for that fine point blade, and then we resume the cut. Now that eject light is blinking, so we can unload our mat and put our Cricut away. Here are all of our cut pieces, so now we can begin assembling the card. I'll use a bone folder and my precision glue, and I like to keep my glue upside down. This is an old votive holder that I've had for ages, and I just keep it for my glue. So I can keep all of that glue there at the tip of my glue. Take out that pin. Let's start with the base of the card. So I'm gonna move these aside. This piece is gonna fold over. It's gonna be the left flap to the card. So I'm gonna gently fold it over, but I want to line up the edges before I press it down. You don't wanna just trust the score line because your card can still end up a little off center. So there's the left flap. Now this other flap, we had to cut this in two pieces because this is longer than 12 inches wide. So you could cut it out all in one, but then you'd need the long mat, and that's a lot of work. So I just cut it into two pieces. And this piece is gonna fold over. So we're gonna fold this piece over. Use that bone folder to give it a good, nice, crisp fold. And then this flap is gonna go on the inside of the card. You could put it on the outside, but I worried that by having that flap on the outside, it would catch on the envelope. And this white piece that goes inside will cover up that flap. So it is okay. I'll take my precision glue and add glue onto that flap. You don't want too much glue because you don't want it to seep out. This wider part goes at the top, and we're gonna line up those edges. Go over it with the bone folder, and I like to do it on the outside and then again on the inside. And this is the insert. Now if you wanted to, you could write on this with the Cricut and write some beautiful saying, perfect for a wedding, or you can just handwrite something in there. I'm just gonna leave it blank because I don't know yet when I'm gonna use this card. I just know it's cute and I want to use it at some point. I'm gonna add some glue to the inside of that insert, and I want the glue all the way to the edges and a little bit inside. Center that on the inside. That's a little too high. There we go. And press that down. So there's the inside of our card. Now we get to add our other cut pieces to the front of the card. Let's start with our tuxedo. The tuxedo is probably the most difficult, not that it's hard, but to get the right spacing. So for these jacket flaps, the ends of the flap match the end of the white piece. So that's how you know how they go with that white shirt. Then this edge goes on the fold of the card, and that edge goes on the top edge of the card. That's why it's kind of the most difficult to get spaced. I'll put my gray piece down. It's going to go against that fold. And I'm not gluing my white piece yet. I'm just kind of using it as my spacer. Now I'll hold that white piece there, and with my extra hands, and then I can kind of slide this back into place, lining up that bottom edge. There we go. That's the most difficult piece to place. And like I said, it's not that hard. Now we have our shirt, so we can add glue to the back of our shirt. And we're gonna line that up with our jacket flap and the top of the card. And then this flap, jacket flap, will go right there. Add some glue to the back of that. Now we have our jacket flaps, collars. I'm not quite sure what those are called. For the bow tie, I want to give it just a little bit of dimension, and I'm just gonna slightly bend those edges up from that square center. The bow tie shouldn't go any higher than the edge of the card. Otherwise it won't fit in the envelope. We're gonna center that on. There we have the tuxedo. We have the groom's tuxedo for the woman's beautiful dress. We're gonna center that. So the edge of the wedding dress goes flat against the edge of the card, and same with the bottom. Then you should have that black outline around the top. Turn that over, add our glue, and I like to glue close to the edges to make sure that they don't come up. That's why these precision tips are so great, because it helps you get glue everywhere you want and control how much glue. I'm gonna align the bottom and the edge. I'm gonna turn it this way so I have a little bit better control over it. There we go. And there is our card. And when you close the flaps, you've got the groom and the bride. Isn't that so cute? Now you could easily embellish this more using those adhesive rhinestones. You could give her a belt, put the rhinestones there on the man's shirt. You could also add little flowers, or if you have Sizzix and embossing folders, you could emboss the dress to give the dress some pretty lace texture. There's lots of ways to customize this cute card. And if you make this card, I want to see exactly how you customized it. So make sure to tag me at the Crafty Blog Stalker across all social media channels, and I'll see it. I'm so excited to see what you create. I just love this card. It is so cute and so simple. Thank you for joining me today. Make sure to stop by my website, thecraftyblogstalker.com, to grab this free file. You can also find me on YouTube and at home on your smart TV on Made It Myself TV. Thanks everyone. Bye. And happy crafting!